The graphics card is a big part of the computer. It calculates the video calculations so that the processor won't have to do it, which in the end makes less of a load on the main processor. Random access memory is like our short-term memory. It holds information that the computer actively is using, like in video games, so that the computer can get the information fast. CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is the brains of our computer. It takes in and sends out instructions to the other parts of the computer to do different work, like our brain telling us to move our legs or our heart to beat. Network card. It is created to be able to send and receive information that the CPU wants it to handle. It takes and sends information, in the end giving you access to the internet and being able to go online. HDD, hard disk drives, or SSD, solid state drives, are a way of storing information. The difference is that a HDD has a spinning disk and SSD is on small chips. The motherboard is basically what brings everything in the computer together. For example, it brings the CPU and GPU together so that they can communicate and make work easier for the computer itself. A PSU, or a power supply unit, is where you plug in the power of the computer. It converts the power from the outlet to a safe voltage for a computer and gives it energy to run like it should. Number 1. First part of building your computer is to install the CPU, and this can be done by lining up the golden arrow on the CPU with the small arrow on the CPU socket of the motherboard. Do not use force, just lay it in there and then put down the holder of the CPU socket on the CPU and drag down the lever to lock down the CPU in place. Number 2. RAM install. Press the levers on each side of the RAM slot to unlock it. Line up the hole on the bottom of the RAM with the pod in the RAM slots and push the RAM down with both sides of the RAM on the same time until the lever locks itself in place. Number 3. Fan install. To install new fans in your computer case, you will use screws that came with the fan and simply screw them in to the case in a cross pattern. Number 4. Install the I/O shield. The I/O shield is used to protect ports like USB or speaker jacks on the motherboard. You simply just push it in. Number 5. Install the motherboard in the case. To install the motherboard in the case, you will simply line it up with standoffs inside of the case. Standoffs may have to be manually installed, but most times they are pre-installed. If they aren't, you get them with your case. Then simply use screws from your motherboard box to tie down the motherboard. Number 6. Install the motherboard cable in the power supply. Find the 24-pin cable and insert it into the power supply on its designated location, often named MOBO or motherboard. Number 7. Install the CPU cable in the power supply. Find the 8-pin cable marked CPU and install it into its designated location named CPU on the power supply. Number 8. Graphics card cable. Install the PCIe cable in the perf section or peripheral section. It is a 16-pin cable and you will insert it into the power supply. Number 9. Install the SATA power splitters into the peripherals of the power supply. The cable is thin but wide and have small power exits along the cord. Number 10. Install the back plate of the power supply so that it can fit in the case. You will find the back plate most often pre-installed in the case, but you will have to remove it so that it can be installed on the power supply. Number 11. Install the power supply in the case. The easiest thing you can do is drag the cables through the back of the case and into the side so that it goes out. Then you will just have to screw it in. Use the cross method to screw them in for an easy fit. Number 12. Install the backplate of the CPU cooler that is included in the CPU cooler package. Put it through the backside of the motherboard and then use screws that are included to make it hold in place. Number 13. Install the cooler of the CPU. For this, you will first have to use some kind of paper or cotton and perfume-free washing alcohol to clean the CPU on the top and the cooler itself. You will then put about an uncooked rice size of thermal paste on the processor to make better contact with CPU cooler. Then you will lower the CPU cooler on the CPU, lining the screws with the holes in the cooler. Do not let go of the cooler, but instead use your other hand to screw in the screws and make the cooler push down on the CPU. Number 14. Install the pump cable in the CPU fan port. You will do this so that the computer can detect that something is cooling the CPU or else it will think that nothing is cooling the CPU. Number 15. Install the pump power in an available SATA power cord. Install your CPU cooler fans into the splitted cord from the pump, so that the pump can change the speed of the fans depending on how hot the CPU is. Number 17. Install the SSD by inserting a normal SATA cable and a SATA power cable, and install the SSD in some sort of cage, like the floor pad that I got with mine. It depends on the case and how and where you can place your SSD device. Number 18. Install the HDD by inserting a normal SATA cable and a SATA power cable, and install the HDD in some sort of cage. A good tip is to fasten the HDD as much as you can in its cage so that it doesn't have much room to move, since it's a spinning disk inside it.
Don't try this yourself. It's extremely dangerous.
Number 19. Install the motherboard power cable that it comes with the power supply. Push in the locking mechanism and line it up with the port located on the right side of the motherboard. Do not force push, but instead let it slide in until the lock gives a click. Number 20. Install the CPU power cable into your motherboard in a port named CPU that you find most often located on the top left corner of your motherboard. Number 21. Install the fan power for the fans that are not associated with the cooling of the CPU in ports named sysfan or system fan. Number 22. If you have a USB 3 port or a blue USB port on the front of your computer, this cable will be included. Line the cable with the port and simply push it in. Number 23. The front panel connectors are functionalities on front of your PC. These will be small and can be different, but there will be instructions in the manual of the motherboard, so you know exactly how you should put them in. Number 24. Install the HD audio cable in the HD audio port of your motherboard. Number 25. Remove your PCI bracket on the back of your PC. Number 26. Install the network card by lining it up with the PCIe ports and inserting it, and screw in the screws included in the case. Number 27. Use the PCIe 3.0 port closest to the CPU for this part. Click down the locking mechanism on the PCIe 3.0 port and insert your graphics card into the port. Press until you can hear a click from the locking mechanism. Number 28. Install the PCIe brackets again. Number 29. Install the GPU power cables on the right side of the graphics card. Push down the locking mechanism on the cable and then press the cable into the port until the locking mechanism clicks. Number 30. Well done! Your PC is now complete and I hope you enjoyed learning the way of building a computer.